What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Weekly Words. I pray that these last couple weeks have been great for you and that God has been able to provide in the different ways that you need Him to. I'm especially excited for this week's episode because it is April, which means that it's National Poetry Month. And just like every other year, I'm going to dive into some great poetry. So I'm going to be sharing some poems that I've written to express myself, to process through my emotions, my experiences, my ideas, to craft together what I've learned and what God has taught me. I'm going to be sharing poems that I've read, poems that have encouraged me and inspired me and pushed me to overcome any kind of hills of adversities and trials. So I hope that you enjoy the poems that I'm going to be sharing this month. And this week, I'm going to start off by sharing a poem from one of my favorite contemporary poets, Rudy Francisco, from his book, I'll Fly Away. Now, this is truly a great book. If you don't have it or you haven't heard of it, I really suggest and recommend you buying it. Reading through this book, every time I got to a new page, I would say, oh, this is going to be my favorite poem. This is going to be the poem that I remember. And then I turn the page and I say the exact same thing, and I keep saying it over and over and over. This book is filled with so many great poems that challenge the way that you think, challenge the way that I think, and then also just expresses feelings that I think we all can relate to. So today I'm going to share a poem called Sometimes I'm the Mess. It's very short, but it's also very potent. Sometimes I'm the mess. Sometimes I'm the broom. On my hardest days, I have to be both. This poem, when I first read it, hit me so hard because I literally related to every single word that Rudy shared, right? Sometimes I'm the mess. I've been the mess. What does it mean to be the mess? I take it to mean the times that we've failed, that we've had mistakes, that we've had anything negative or less than ideal happen to us. So for me, the messes in my life are the times that I failed classes in college and had to retake them, the times that I've been broken up with, the time that I was fired from my job, the time I spent unemployed, the times that I had doubts and insecurities, the times whenever people have spoken badly about me behind my back, the times when I've spoken bad about people behind their back, the times when I've tried and failed, all the jobs that I applied to and I didn't get, all the struggles and adversities I faced when writing and performing and messing up, the times in school when I ran track and I fell at the hurdles. So many different things I think can qualify as the mess in our lives. I have been there. I've been the mess. But I've also been the broom. So what does the broom represent? I think the broom can represent the times in our lives whenever we have our I's dotted, our T's crossed. Whenever our friends come to us with advice, we can identify the issue and provide a solution. Whenever the times in life, whenever we have joy, whenever we have happiness, the times whenever we are walking towards our purpose, the times when we feel fulfilled, the times when things are going pretty well, right? The times whenever we're a broom is when things are aligned in our eyes and working for our good, and we see it working for our good. But then Rudy also says, on my hardest days, I have to be both. I think we have this idea in life that whenever we've evolved to being in the broom phase of our life, the time whenever we have that joy and we have that success and we have those accomplishments and we have the family and we have our dreams and we have a good relationship with God and we're following Christ with all of our heart, that means that we don't have any more bad days, that there's no longer the messy moments of life. But I think this poem actually outlines that life isn't really black or white. Life is actually very complex. So even in our moments, whenever we are the broom, whenever we are mature, whenever we are strong, whenever we are successful, whenever we are happy, whenever we have joy, doesn't negate the fact that there still could be some messes in our lives. We could still have doubt. We can still have insecurities. We can still experience heartbreak. We can still have loss. We can still be fired. We can still be dealing with things in the messiness of life, even though we're still having successes as well. I remember some of the hardest times in my life were paired with some of the best times. I remember feeling in a weird space whenever I lost my uncle, and I'm still here trying to encourage people when I'm like, I need encouragement myself. Like, what am I supposed to do when I've lost somebody that I've loved? The times whenever I was unemployed and whenever I didn't know what I was doing with my life, and I still had to figure out what I wanted to do. Just because we get to a place where we are mature and we're the broom and we have success doesn't negate the messes of our lives. What I think it actually does is we now have a maturity and a wisdom to be able to navigate through the mess. So being a broom isn't like this final level you've reached and now you are unstoppable and nobody can touch you. What it means is that you're more equipped to handle the adversities, the trials, and the mess of life. So don't knock yourself down whenever you're still experiencing messes and adversities and still facing challenges, whether you put yourself in that situation or not, thinking that means that you're a failure. No, you're just like everybody else. It rains on the just and the unjust alike. So I want to encourage everybody today. One, first and foremost, we relate to you. Rudy, myself, we relate to you feeling like a mess, feeling like a broom, or feeling like you have to be both. But also be encouraged that even though you're still going through the messes, you are at a point where you can navigate through it. God has not given you anything too hard that you can't handle. So be encouraged by that. Be encouraged by what God has for you and what He's strengthening you in. It really sucks. I know. I've been there. I'm like, God, stop. I don't want any more trials and tribulations. But it's a part of life. It's a part of life. Sometimes you'll be the mess. Sometimes you'll be the broom. But on your hardest days, you'll have to be both. Stay encouraged. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Weekly Words. I pray that you thoroughly enjoyed it and got something positive from it. If you have any questions or suggestions for things for me to speak on in the future, or you want to be featured on Viewers Corner, feel free to email me at weeklywordsrt@gmail.com. Again, that's weeklywordsrt@gmail.com. Again, don't forget to check out the Weekly Words extended podcast anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you back here next time on Weekly Words.